So, ready?
Yes.
Ready, set, go.
Ready, set, go. Shall I read from this?
Let me read.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like you have more to say later on. It's something I can manage.
You can manage this part.
I can manage that. Hey everyone, this is Kayleigh and Immanuel. It's great to have you here, and we want you to know that you are loved and there's a purpose for your life.
And today we want to talk about anger and conflict management.
Yeah, so throughout the video, we want to invite you to ask yourself, am I a rhino or am I a hedgehog? As these are questions that we were actually faced when we were doing our pre-marriage counseling. So I just quickly want to share what our marriage counseling book from HTB was giving us as a definition for who's a rhino and who's a hedgehog. And it says that a rhino is someone in a conflict, they will let you know that they're angry right away and they go on attack. And the hedgehog on the other side, they tend to hide their anger and they're likely to become quiet and withdraw. So those are two opposite extremes of how a person can deal with anger, for example, as part of a conflict.
So in our counselling course, this was one of the topics around conflict, and they were saying that both options are actually quite unhealthy. And we were encouraged to reflect ourselves on what one we are, whether we go straight in on conflict as a rhino or if we hide away from things as a hedgehog. And pretty quickly we both realised that we are definitely hedgehogs, both of us. I think at first maybe you said you were a rhino and I was a hedgehog.
No, I thought you were a rhino and
you
I was a
thought
hedgehog.
I was a rhino. Yeah, so yeah, for a second we kind of fooled ourselves, but yeah, reality is like we both could think of so many different times in our relationship when we had something quite sensitive to talk about, maybe about like finances or about a friendship or relationship with opposite sex that one of us had, and yeah, other things that were quite sensitive. And in most of those cases, it took quite a long time to even begin
bringing up the topic in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah, so when we realised that, we were like, yeah, well, that's not healthy. And then reflecting more on those different scenarios, finances, relationships, we could see how it had a negative impact on the conversation, because we noticed that in those conversations, we were probably a bit more aggressive, is a very strong word, but we definitely had some built up resentment, which we had to try and control a bit more. So there was more tension in those conversations. I
guess as well because we individually might have had a lot of conversations in our own head about those topics, and it was quite a ripe topic in our head, and we may have already been quite passionate about it. All
our reasons why what we're about to say is right.
And then you bring forward the conversation and the other person's like, what? Whoa, you know? And sometimes you then feel like, wow, this has gone for so long. What happened in that time?
Yeah.
Like there was so much potential for this to be solved, and we could thrive in the areas of this being resolved.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So not only were we a bit more tense, but the other person also is feeling more attacked, and there was less room for empathy in those conversations. So yeah, it was really helpful to be in our marriage course and actually get to put a name on this behaviour, which is basically harbouring things away as a hedgehog. And yeah, from there we wanted to support each other in stopping it.
I guess this is something that can relate to a relationship, but it can also relate to a friendship in general, or maybe in a family context. So yeah, think of it yourself when you now hear those kind of two extremes. Where do you find yourself? Maybe already put it in a comment.
Yeah, it would be really interesting to see other people's reflections on difficult conversations, because it's not something that is very easy to talk about or that you generally hear spoken about. Yeah, and something actually which I realised when we were preparing for the video, I was thinking that the way we approach conflict, some of the advice we get given is often misinterpreted. Like I think back to one of the first Bible verses I learned. It's in Proverbs 15, it's the first verse, and it says that a soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words. So it's not a wise answer, soft answer. Yeah, well, either way it works. A soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. And I think I, in my own head, kind of saw that verse and then just ran away from anything that could produce anger or difficulty in a conversation. But actually it's really not about that. It's about having a soft answer, a kind, responding in love. And with that is not avoiding conversations, but actually approaching the conversations well. Yeah.
Same for me, when I was also then thinking about what made me to be a hedgehog. Actually, in my family upbringing, we have had difficult topics, like every family has difficult topics, and then it comes down to, okay, how do you resolve them? And I think in my family context, every now and then it would turn into a conflict, like an argument, like lots of emotions. And I think how I would then relate to those would be in withdrawal. I would just withdraw and I would keep myself out of it, because I knew, well, this is stress, like I don't want to be bothered about this. And then I didn't really learn, I guess, in that way to deal with those difficult conversations or really engage myself in them, and just learned that actually sometimes you are just better off. I felt like you were better off just not going into them in the first place. But then later down the line you realize, no, they're gonna harm you in other areas where you actually have to, but you haven't really learned how to address them properly.
I guess it's like when you don't see the benefit of going through that initial stress or discomfort. Definitely. Well, I mean, we've definitely found it so much more helpful to push ourselves to confront things earlier. And there were 3 things that helped us to do that, to get better at not running away from things. And the first one was having that conversation, and it doesn't have to be in a counselling session, but having that conversation where we both discussed it and said, we don't want to do this, we want to break this habit and be healthier with our conversation. So being both committed to that helps strengthen you and encourage you, definitely.
The other thing that we think can be really helpful is to actually bring it forward in a way that, like, to sensitize the other person as like, okay, I want to talk to you about something, and I now have to, like, this is going against being a rhino. Like, I'm trying not to be a rhino.
Or against being a hedgehog.
Either. I'm trying not to be a hedgehog when now bringing up this thing. And now the other person knows, okay, actually, let me pay attention to this and let me be sensitive. Let me show empathy towards what this other person would have to say, because it's probably going against what he would naturally or she would naturally tend to. So I guess that in itself, to kind of like frame it in a way that, okay, this is serious, and this is like serious in the way that I take it seriously, and this is something that's going to be really, really important or valuable for us to talk about. Let's make that safe environment for it.
And then the third thing, which can come with communicating up front that this topic is sensitive and you're pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, that third thing is it allows the other person to be more open and compassionate when hearing it. Because if you're both in this process together, then when you see the other person is trying, you can promote what they're doing and encourage them.
So I guess actually then looking back into our 2.5 years now of being together, it was less so being a hedgehog in an actual conflict, but rather in the leading up to it.
Yeah.
So.
And some in the conversation.
Also in the conversation.
Yeah, like avoiding saying things when you're having a conversation that you want to say but you don't because you want to run away.
Fair point. So we have both.
Yeah.
But then I guess now that we are very aware of it, I think we have more of those difficult conversations earlier on.
Yeah, definitely.
And that really helps both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. A benefit we've had from having them earlier on is that both people's emotions are kind of at the same level. There's no build up. I mean, basically the opposite of those disadvantages. But we do feel it and helps us to find a solution a bit quicker. Yeah. So that's our story of being hedgehogs ourselves, or recovering hedgehogs. The question is, which one were you? And as we encouraged you earlier, please do share with us an example of when you have been a rhino or a hedgehog and how you reflect on it. And hopefully it can help someone else and encourage someone else in their journey as well.
Thank you for watching. As always, please leave a like and also subscribe to our channel. We plan to upload a video every week. It would be great if you joined us on our journey. We love you and we look forward to seeing you next time.
Yeah, see you next time. Yumba!